Vince McMahon's journey began not in the glitz and glamour of professional wrestling, but in the gritty reality of an unstable upbringing. Born on August 24, 1945, in Pinehurst, North Carolina, Vince grew up estranged from his biological father, Vincent J. McMahon. Raised by his mother, Victoria Askew, and subjected to the abusive tendencies of several stepfathers, Vince's childhood was far from idyllic. Before we continue the video, we would like to ask you to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for your understanding. One stepfather, Leo Lupton, was particularly abusive, a fact Vince later recounted with a mix of anger and regret. At the age of 12, Vince was reunited with his biological father, who operated Capital Wrestling Corporation, CWC, a modest regional wrestling promotion. Despite the challenges of adjusting to this new life, Vince was fascinated by the world his father had created. Wrestling wasn't just entertainment, it was storytelling at its rawest, a blend of drama, athleticism, and larger-than-life characters. However, Vincent J. McMahon was adamantly opposed to his son entering the wrestling business as anything other than a promoter. Wrestling, in his view, was a sacred tradition that should be preserved and managed, not tarnished by ambition or ego. But young Vince had other ideas. His entrepreneurial spirit and taste for spectacle couldn't be contained by regional boundaries or his father's conservative ideals. In 1982, Vince saw his opportunity to make wrestling a global phenomenon. He and his wife, Linda McMahon, founded Titan Sports Incorporated and purchased the WWF from his father. The acquisition wasn't just a business transaction, it was a seismic shift in the wrestling world. At the time, professional wrestling operated under the territory system, where regional promotions thrived independently. Each promoter adhered to a gentleman's agreement not to encroach on another's territory. But Vince McMahon was no ordinary promoter. He viewed the territory system as archaic and limiting. He set out to disrupt the status quo, buying out competitors, signing their biggest stars, and using television to bring wrestling into the homes of millions. His vision was clear: to transform the WWF from a regional attraction into a global brand. The linchpin of Vince's strategy was WrestleMania, an ambitious gamble that would either catapult the WWF into the stratosphere or bankrupt it entirely. Inspired by NWA's Starrcade, Vince envisioned a larger-than-life event that combined wrestling with the star power of Hollywood. To execute this vision, he brought in celebrities like Cyndi Lauper, Muhammad Ali, and Mr. T to draw mainstream attention. The inaugural WrestleMania, held on March 31, 1985, at Madison Square Garden, was a spectacular success. It attracted over 1 million viewers through closed-circuit television and set the stage for the WWF's dominance. Pay-per-view television soon followed, making WrestleMania the crown jewel of a burgeoning empire. The 1980s marked the WWF's golden era, with Vince McMahon at the helm and Hulk Hogan as the face of the company. Hogan's charisma and Vince's marketing genius were a match made in heaven. Together, they created a pop culture phenomenon known as Hulkamania. The WWF roster boasted a collection of iconic figures, from Macho Man, Randy Savage, and Andre the Giant to the Ultimate Warrior and Roddy Piper. These superstars weren't just athletes, they were larger-than-life personalities whose feuds and storylines captivated audiences around the world. By the early 1990s, Vince McMahon's empire faced its first major crisis. The anabolic steroid scandal rocked the WWF to its core, with allegations that McMahon had been complicit in distributing illegal substances to his wrestlers. In 1993, he was indicted on charges of conspiracy to distribute steroids. If convicted, Vince faced significant prison time, which would have irreparably damaged his career and the WWF. The trial, dubbed United States v. McMahon, became a media spectacle. While Vince ultimately avoided conviction due to insufficient evidence, the scandal left a lasting stain on his reputation. More importantly, it forced the WWF to implement stricter drug policies, changing the landscape of professional wrestling forever. The late 1990s brought the most significant challenge to Vince's dominance. WCW, led by billionaire Ted Turner, was gaining ground with its edgy programming and star-studded roster. To combat this, Vince pivoted the WWF's content towards a grittier, more adult-oriented product, giving birth to the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era was defined by boundary-pushing storylines, controversial characters, and unprecedented levels of fan engagement. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and D-Generation X became household names, while Vince himself stepped into the ring as the villainous Mr. McMahon. His feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin became one of the most iconic rivalries in wrestling history, blurring the lines between fiction and reality. The battle for ratings supremacy between WWF's Monday Night Raw and WCW's Monday Nitro was fierce. WCW, bolstered by stars like Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall, had a significant edge with its NWO storyline. However, Vince's willingness to adapt and innovate ultimately tipped the scales. In 2001, WWF purchased WCW, cementing its place as the undisputed king of professional wrestling. Throughout his career, Vince made it clear that WWE was a family business. His children, Shane and Stephanie McMahon, were heavily involved in both on-screen storylines and backstage operations. Stephanie married Triple H, Paul Levesque, further solidifying the family's grip on the company. However, Vince's demanding nature often led to tensions within the family. Shane, frustrated by a lack of creative control, left WWE in 2009 to pursue other ventures. Stephanie, on the other hand, rose through the ranks, becoming one of the most powerful figures in the company. As society's cultural norms shifted, so did WWE. The company moved away from the edgy content of the Attitude Era and embraced a more family-friendly PG era. This transition allowed WWE to attract lucrative sponsorship deals and expand its global reach, but some fans lamented the loss of the raw, unpredictable energy that had defined earlier years. 2022, Vince McMahon's empire came crashing down. Accusations of sexual misconduct and hush money payments surfaced, leading to a board investigation. The revelations were damning, forcing Vince to step down as CEO and chairman. It was a shocking end for a man who had been synonymous with WWE for over 4 decades. Despite his fall from grace, Vince McMahon's impact on professional wrestling is undeniable. He transformed a regional pastime into a global phenomenon, creating a multi-billion-dollar empire in the process. From WrestleMania to the WWE Network, Vince's innovations reshaped the entertainment landscape. Yet, his story is also a cautionary tale of hubris and excess. Vince McMahon's rise and fall serve as a reminder that even the mightiest can fall, and legacies can be as fragile as they are monumental. Vince McMahon's departure from WWE sent shockwaves through the wrestling industry. It wasn't just the end of an era, it was the unraveling of a man who had long been perceived as untouchable. For the first time in over 4 decades, the WWE moved forward without Vince's direct influence. The new leadership, comprised of Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, and Triple H, ushered in a fresh chapter for the company. But as the dust settled, questions about Vince's legacy and his potential for a return loomed large. Vince's forced resignation came as WWE was transitioning into its next big corporate move, the merger with UFC under TKO Group Holdings. The merger marked a turning point for WWE, integrating it into a broader sports entertainment conglomerate. While Vince had once envisioned himself as the puppet master controlling all aspects of WWE's future, the allegations and subsequent investigations stripped him of this possibility. His role in WWE's new structure was marginalized, leaving him on the sidelines as his carefully built empire evolved without him. With Vince McMahon out of the picture, the WWE experienced a creative resurgence under Triple H. As Chief Content Officer, Triple H brought a renewed focus on long-term storytelling, character development, and in-ring action. Wrestlers who had once felt stifled under Vince's micromanagement found new opportunities to shine. Fan-favorite wrestlers who had been released during Vince's tenure, such as Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman, were brought back, reigniting fan enthusiasm. Stephanie McMahon, serving as co-CEO, brought a sense of stability to the organization during its most turbulent period. Her leadership style was markedly different from her father's. While Vince was known for his iron-fisted, often authoritarian approach, Stephanie fostered collaboration and inclusivity, appealing to the WWE workforce and fans alike. Nick Khan, meanwhile, continued to expand WWE's profitability, striking lucrative media deals and international partnerships. The new leadership team understood that WWE's future wasn't just about wrestling. It was about solidifying its place in the broader entertainment and sports markets. The company diversified its programming, expanded its presence on streaming platforms, and bolstered its relationships with international audiences. Despite the controversies that led to his resignation, Vince McMahon wasn't ready to fade into obscurity. Just 6 months after stepping down, Vince shocked the world by engineering his return as executive chairman. Leveraging his majority voting power as WWE's largest shareholder, he orchestrated a corporate coup, forcing his way back into the boardroom. The move was met with resistance from shareholders, employees, and even some of his family members. Stephanie McMahon's sudden resignation following Vince's return signaled deeper familial and corporate tensions. Many speculated that Vince's return wasn't just about regaining control. It was about vindicating himself and asserting his relevance in a company that had thrived in his absence. However, Vince's comeback wasn't met with the fanfare he might have hoped for. His return was overshadowed by fresh allegations of misconduct, and his role in WWE became increasingly ceremonial. The TKO Group Holdings merger further diminished Vince's influence. While he initially assumed that his role as executive chairman of WWE would grant him significant sway, the realities of the merger placed greater authority in the hands of TKO's CEO, Ari Emanuel. Vince McMahon found himself in an unfamiliar position, relegated to a background figure in the very company he had built. Vince McMahon's legacy is a paradox, a testament to both unparalleled achievement and glaring human flaws. On one hand, he revolutionized the wrestling industry, turning it into a global powerhouse and creating cultural icons like Hulk Hogan, The Rock, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. His innovations in storytelling, production, and marketing redefined what professional wrestling could be. On the other hand, Vince's career was marred by controversies that reflected the darker side of his leadership. From allegations of exploiting talent to accusations of creating a toxic workplace culture, Vince's tenure was fraught with ethical and legal challenges. The steroid scandal of the 1990s, the numerous accusations of sexual misconduct, and the hush money payments revealed a pattern of behavior that tainted his legacy. For fans and industry insiders alike, the question remains: can WWE continue to thrive without Vince McMahon at the helm? The answer seems to be a resounding yes. Under Triple H and Stephanie McMahon's leadership, WWE has shown resilience and adaptability. The creative direction feels reinvigorated, and the company is exploring new avenues for growth in an ever-changing entertainment landscape. However, Vince's shadow still looms large. His contributions to the industry are undeniable, and his downfall serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power. While he may no longer be the face of WWE, his influence remains embedded in its DNA. As Vince McMahon steps further into the background, the wrestling world grapples with the duality of his legacy. He is a man who turned wrestling into a global phenomenon, but who also brought scandal and controversy to its doorstep. His story is one of ambition, innovation, and excess, a Shakespearean drama played out in the squared circle. Though Vince's time at the top has come to an end, his name will forever be synonymous with professional wrestling. His rise, fall, and attempted redemption are a reminder that even the most powerful figures are not immune to the consequences of their actions. As WWE moves forward, it carries both the weight of Vince's legacy and the promise of a future unshackled by his controversies. In the end, Vince McMahon's life is a story of extremes, of soaring triumphs and devastating defeats, of unparalleled influence and irreparable damage. It is the story of a man who reached for the stars but ultimately found himself grappling with the cost of his own ambition. The wrestling world he helped build moves on, but the echoes of Vince McMahon's impact, both good and bad, will be felt for generations to come. Thank you for watching this video to the end. We would like to ask you to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, to stay up to date with all the latest events, click on the bell so you will not miss the next news releases.